Imagine you train your muscles super hard in the gym, tearing them down to the bone to bring them back bigger, better and stronger. You eat the perfect diet, packed full of the nutrients your body needs to recover, full of protein to build back those muscles. Now there's only one more step to fully recover and actually build those muscles back better, stronger, bigger, just as you want your goal physique to look like. And you skip this step. Or at the very least, you completely half-ass it. This step, of course, is your sleep. Sleep is super important for you, and I fall guilty of this myself when I was in school and college. You know, I was the guy who used to message people super late. Yes, I know we can all have a great laugh at my expense. But, you know, I'd be that guy. I'd watch YouTube late at night, informational YouTube videos like this, which is also just super ironic, considering they'd always be about building muscle and being healthy. And I was just fully skipping out on my own sleep to watch these videos, and probably getting about 4 hours of sleep. You know, I'd procrastinate on things that I needed to do, crack open 6 Red Bulls and stay up and do it overnight, because of course that's time that, you know, rather than sleep, which not that important, you know, I spent it doing my assignments, which is just a terrible idea. You know, I used to work the doors as well, so I'd work at night or overnight till 3 o'clock in the morning on the weekends. You know, instead of going out, I'd work. But this, of course, disrupted that sleep as well. I also worked shift, which the shift that I worked, this wasn't on the doors, this was another job. We'd have a 5-week rotating pattern of completely different shifts, so you'd go from days to nights to lates, and your body would never get used to sleeping. You'd never get a proper sleep schedule. And I always used to tell myself, it's okay, I'll get a sleep schedule sorted, and I never would. I just never would. I'd always say, yeah, we'll sort it out, but I'd never get round to it. So take this from me, I've been in that position of terrible sleep, and I'm here basically learning out loud. Essentially, I figure something out or try something that has worked for me that I've maybe seen, and I'm going to share it with you, and hopefully it's going to help improve your sleep and the results out of your day. Of course, sleep's very important for things like muscle growth. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to get the results that you need. Everyone should be training to some extent, and sleep is going to help you produce human growth hormone, which is vital in a process called protein synthesis, which is going to help you build that muscle. As well, in your sleep, you're going to produce testosterone, which is important for your entire life. By the way, all of these hormones people take illegally through performance enhancing drugs. You can just produce them for free in your sleep. That's not illegal, by the way. No, this isn't to mention all the metabolism boosting chemicals that are produced in sleep as well. So you're also going to burn fat. So if you're that skinny fat physique, I was just really skinny. So you can both build muscle and lose fat, which I wouldn't recommend in terms of diet, but your sleep will help you lose fat and build that muscle at the same time. As well, sleep is just going to reset your brain and reset the stress from the day. You may get brain fog a lot, where if you just slept right, and I mean proper, not just I slept okay, if you sleep really well, you will sort out your brain fog. First of all, there's things that we need to avoid when it comes to our sleep. Now, you can do everything to fully optimize your sleep, but if you don't avoid this, then it's not going to help you at all. Now, I want you to tell me what is wrong with this picture here. That's right. This moron is blasting his eyes with super overstimulating content and blue light, and his brain is super overstimulated. This also goes for any other screens or playing games on your phone. This is another one that gets me, because no matter how relaxing that game may be or be giving you this illusion that you're relaxed, it really isn't. If we did a brain scan of your brain when you're playing this game, it wouldn't be relaxed in the slightest. So don't fall for that kind of misinformation there. You need to be away from your screens. The blue light that is emitted from your screens, and I say blue light, but even with the night shift mode, it's not really that much better. It's still going to be flickering light that's stressful to your nervous system and your brain, which is going to prevent you from going to sleep. It's going to trick your mind into thinking it's still day and overall affect your sleep. Now, many people may still use their screens an hour before bed and still go unconscious for 8 hours, and it gives that illusion that you have had a full 8 hours of sleep, but yet they may still feel tired and brain fogged the next day. That's because you haven't actually had a full 8 hours of restful sleep. You've just kind of been unconscious and semi-relaxed. So it's important that we turn our screens off an hour before we go to sleep or go to bed. Now, I know this is quite difficult. Like, I know a lot of you will be thinking,
yeah, but Jack, scrolling is such a hard habit to get rid of, so I can't do this.
Believe me, I know, I've been there. I've gotten rid of these habits, but I'm going to give you later a routine that is going to help you avoid these habits. Just trust me on this, because like I say, I am not perfect. I was never the perfect sleeper. The only other time other than now that I had perfect sleep was when I was a baby in a crib and you could just fall asleep. The other reason that screens can be stressful to your nervous system or to your body and prevent you from sleeping is you may see a message from someone with some news. You may see an email from an employer or someone you don't really like, or not, I'm saying that you don't like your employer, but it might be an email from someone you don't want to be emailed by. Or you may see some news, which is probably not true, on your phone or laptop or whatever that stresses you out. Even if it doesn't physically scare you, it will still stress out your body enough that you will sleep less well that night. So screens are just terrible for your sleep. Now I'm going to give you an explanation of what is called your circadian rhythm. Now many of you have probably heard this a million times. Some of you may never have heard of this, but I want to give you a really in-depth explanation of what this is, because even if you've heard of it, I think this could help you and could be a benefit to you. Certainly when I learned this new information about what this I've always heard,
oh, circadian rhythm this, circadian rhythm that.
But no one had properly explained to me how it all worked. When I realized, this helped me understand how I could fully optimize my sleep and maybe why I wasn't optimizing it as best as I can. So I'm going to give you quite a long explanation, well, not long, but a decent-ish explanation of what this is about. Your circadian rhythm starts with the morning that you wake up. So what happens is your body releases the stress hormone. Now, usually in life, we don't want too much of this unless we're being robbed or something like this, and it's going to give us that little boost. But in the morning, it's totally natural for you to produce some levels of cortisol. This is good. We'll have some food later and it will nullify this cortisol. It's only a small spike just to get the body waking up. Let's say we wake up at 6 o'clock. That's when our cortisol has told us we need to wake up, which is a reasonable time to wake up, by the way. Now, early humans would have gone straight outside, out into the outdoors, and seen the sun as soon as they woke up. Essentially, what this will do is, of course, it will tell your brain that it's morning. Many of you have already heard this, but it sets a clock off. 16 hours from that moment where you go out in the sun, you'll start to feel weary again and your body will be ready to sleep. Now, why is this important? If you wake up at 6 o'clock and you go outside straight away at 6 o'clock, well, 16 hours later is going to be 10 o'clock. So maybe you go to bed to get ready to sleep, and by 10 o'clock, your body's tired enough to then go straight to sleep. Whereas modern life, we tend to wake up, have breakfast, have our coffee, do our morning routine, shower. Not that you can shower outdoors. Well, some people do. We still do all of our morning routine indoors. And then when we go out to maybe an appointment or to work, that's when we see our first set of sunlight. And it's usually just to walk to the car. That's not even enough anyway. So I know the times aren't going to be exactly to your life, but let's say you wake up again at 6 o'clock and maybe you don't see your first bit of sunlight until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is when your brain registers that it's daytime. It gets you feeling good and ready for your day. 16 hours later is 1 o'clock the next morning. Let me repeat that. 1 o'clock the next morning. So you woke up at 6 and you're not going to feel tired until 1, which is why a lot of you feel like you need to go on your phone before bed to try and wind down, or why a lot of people say I can't go to bed this early because I'm not tired. Well, that's because your circadian rhythm doesn't actually say that you're tired until 1 that morning. So you imagine you go to sleep fully at 1 o'clock and you wake up at 6 the next day, you're only going to have 5 hours of sleep. Now, I know there's some people who say,
I can perform at 6 hours of sleep, no problem.
I watched and I was one of these guys, by the way, so don't feel ashamed of this, but I watched a podcast with Joe Rogan, and I can't remember the exact details who he was talking to, but they worked out that the amount of people on this earth, like mathematically in percentages, that can function on less than or 6 hours or less of sleep is less than, I want to say, 2% of people out of 8 billion people. So it would be wrong for you to say that you're one of those people because there are so few people out there. Plus, if you're still feeling brain fog throughout your day, you're definitely not one of those people. Many of you may say, well, there's not sunlight in the morning where I'm from. Now, the first thing I'm going to address is that even if it's cloudy or rainy in the morning, that's fine. Still go outside. I often find that's a bit of a cope that the weather's not good, so I can't go outside and get the morning sunlight. Look, I'm from a place called Guernsey, which is a little island off of the UK. The island's actually closer to France, but we're just considered part of the UK. However, we get the same UK-ish weather where it's cold, rainy and grey most of the time. The summers are nice usually, but because we're in the arse end of nowhere, we get like everyone else's weather. So if there's a storm in Spain, then we're gonna get it too. We also get like Saharan desert sand blow over us in the wind and things like this. Because we're kind of nowhere, we just get every type of weather. So our weather is a lot more volatile. So that's not an excuse not to get outside in the morning. If it's slightly lighter than it was in the night, pitch black, then there's still sunlight that's going to benefit you, that's going to wake your brain up and set off your circadian rhythm. And it's still going to give you the vitamin D that you also need to just be in a better mood. Now, I empathize if you're in like a super northern country, and I don't know if it's the same in super southern countries, but sometimes in those kind of countries, you may only get an hour's worth of sunlight in the day. So when you do wake up, it is dark. My advice to you would be to get a light lamp or like a heat box. I can't remember exactly, but I will link one here or in the description somewhere. And this is going to give you the same effect, or your circadian rhythm, the same effect as the sun would. It's still going to wake you up, and it's still going to make sure that you're sleepy around that 10 o'clock mark or that 16 hours later mark. This, unfortunately, though, is not going to give you the same vitamin D as the sun would. So, unfortunately, it's not going to have the same health benefit, but it will reset your body clock. Now, I'm going to give you a simple nighttime routine that you can follow before you go to bed. Now, I want you to set a bedtime 9 hours before you need to wake up, and an hour before that time, I want you to turn all screens off. Now, what you can do is have a hot shower if you need to cool down. And I like to read for about 15 minutes a day. Another video I'll make on reading and the benefits of reading and how you can get into that habit. Then after that, get yourself a diary or a notebook and write down all the things you need to get done tomorrow. You might spend energy tomorrow planning what you need to do. However, why not just do that the night before so you don't have to spend that energy and you can use it on what needs to get done. Write down everything you need to get done the next day. Get your clothes out. Brush your teeth. Don't be a scrub. Please brush your teeth before you go to bed. Another thing to do before bed is to foam roll and stretch. This will actually improve the quality of your sleep. And then also, I've been experimenting with sitting like this. I actually saw this in a Paul Saladino short of how to get to sleep immediately. So anyway, to improve sleep effectiveness, I'm more than happy to try out. I've only been trying this for a limited time, so I can't report back, but I do trust Paul Saladino and what he says. I think a lot of it, what he says, is very valuable. So it's something for you to give a go with me. And then see how your sleep improves. I hope this video can improve how you sleep. Now, I want you to go and apply this to your own life. If you don't apply this, all you've done is just entertained yourself and you haven't actually improved your life. I hope this can all improve your sleep. Have a great day, have a great week, and have a great life.